Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2 is an American environmental science satellite which launched on July 2, 2014. A NASA mission, it is a replacement for the Orbiting Carbon Observatory which was lost in a launch failure in 2009. Mission description: the OCO-2 satellite was built by Orbital Sciences Corporation, based around the LEO-Star 2 bus. The spacecraft is being used to study carbon dioxide concentrations and distributions in the atmosphere. OCO-2 was ordered after the original OCO spacecraft failed to achieve orbit. During the first satellite's launch atop a Taurus XL in February 2009, the payload fairing failed to separate from around the spacecraft and the rocket did not have sufficient power to enter orbit with its additional mass. Although a Taurus launch was initially contracted for the reflight, the launch contract was cancelled after the same malfunction occurred on the launch of the Glory satellite 2 years later. United Launch Alliance launched OCO-2 using a Delta II rocket at the beginning of a 30-second launch window at 9:56 and 23 seconds UTC on July 2, 2014. Flying in the 7320-10C configuration, the rocket launched from Space Launch Complex 2W at Vandenberg Air Force Base. The initial launch attempt on July 1 at 9:56 and 44 seconds UTC was scrubbed at 46 seconds on the countdown clock due to a faulty valve on the water suppression system, used to flow water on the launch pad to dampen the acoustic energy during launch. OCO-2 joined the A-Train satellite constellation, becoming the sixth satellite in the group. Members of the A-Train fly very close together in sun-synchronous orbit, to make nearly simultaneous measurements of Earth. A particularly short launch window of 30 seconds was necessary to achieve a proper position in the train. As of May 15, 2015, it was in an orbit with a perigee of 701.4 km, an apogee of 703.2 km and 98.19 degrees inclination. Column CO2 measurements: OCO-2 makes measurements in 3 different spectral bands over 4 to 8 different footprints of approximately 1.29 km or 2.25 km each. About 24 soundings are collected per second while in sunlight, and over 10% of these are sufficiently cloud-free for further analysis. 1 spectral band is used for column measurements of oxygen, and 2 are used for column measurements of carbon dioxide. In the retrieval algorithm, measurements from the 3 bands are combined to yield column average dry air mole fractions of carbon dioxide. Because these are dry air mole fractions, these measurements do not change with water content or surface pressure. Because the molecular oxygen content of the atmosphere is well known to be 20.95%, oxygen is used as a measure of the total dry air column. To ensure these measurements are traceable to the World Meteorological Organization, OCO-2 measurements are carefully compared with measurements by the Total Carbon Column Observing Network. References. Bibliography Osterman, Gregory. AL Orbiting Carbon Observatory Euro-2, Data Product Users Guide, Operational L1 and L2 Data Versions 6 and 6R. NASA OCOD 55208. Retrieved May 14, 2015. External links: media related to Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2 at Wikimedia Commons, Orbiting Carbon Observatory at nasa.gov, Orbiting Carbon Observatory by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Orbiting Carbon Observatory by the JPL Science Division.